Hi, and welcome back to the Playground Talks podcast. My name is Tammy Afriat, and I'm your host. I'm a mother of 3 kiddos, ages 5 to 13. I'm also a former engineer turned into a certified parent coach, and my mission is to help you, dads and moms, to set boundaries with compassion. And today, in this episode, we'll discuss why it is important to set boundaries. And so, just for a quick reminder, setting boundaries means setting expectation. And if you want, go back and tune in to podcast number 26, where I dive into what does setting boundaries means in my perspective. So before we dive into why it is important to set boundaries, I just want to tell the 2 conditions for us to call it setting healthy boundaries, which is the first of all, yes, you set expectation and you provide the structure of what is it you expect to happen. And the second thing is that you're being consistent. So once you have those 2 things, providing the structure and consistency happening, then we can talk about 3 different perspectives: the kid's perspective, your perspective as the parent, and the family perspective. So why is it important to set boundaries for your kids, for you, and for the family? Okay, so from the child perspective, when you set clear expectation, your child understands what is expected from them, and then this reduces anxiety and confusion. Also, clear boundaries create a framework within which your child can operate. So for example, when you say in our house, bedtime is at 8 p.m., the child knows what to expect and feels secure in the routine. So you have this routine where you get, dinner time, maybe then showering time, and that reduces the bedtime battles and help the child understand the importance of rest for their well-being as they get older. By the way, if you set the boundary and you say that's when we go to sleep, but you find it difficult to hold the boundary because then the child comes and say, no, now I'm hungry. No, something scares me, and so on. Talk to me, because setting boundaries is just the first step. You would also need to hold the boundary. So again, if you struggle with this, please contact me. I will help you in any way I can. So that's the child perspective. Let's move on to parents' perspective. From your perspective, you cannot expect your child to know what is it that you're wanting if you didn't clearly set and express your expectation. So the point from your perspective to do it is to avoid your frustration, because we all know that when we are frustrated, we're also human beings. It leads to sometimes not be the parent we aspire to be. So we've raised tone and we are angry with the kids, and the kids sense that and feels that, and then whatever value we want to teach them and guide them is not going through because all the kids is experiencing is an angry parent. So let's take an example that you have a phone call, like a really important phone call from work. You just have to take it and the kids are around. If you were to say, I have a phone call, this is not setting the expectation. What you want to be is really specific and say, I need to be on a phone call for 30 minutes. So please play quietly during the time in your room or outside. You can reach out to me only in emergency. And just before I'm on the call, is there anything do you need from me? For example, the kid would say, yes, let's get some snack prepared for me in case I'm hungry, so I won't disturb you while you're on the phone call. So the point is, be specific and clear about your expectation, which is not only preventing your frustration, but also your child frustration. Last thing, let's talk about how setting boundaries impact the family dynamics and family environment. So from the family perspective, boundaries foster respect and empathy. And the one thing I want to emphasize here is that when you express your needs and want assertively and you demonstrate self-respect for yourself and for others, you're actually teaching your child to do the same. So let's say your kids now want to have something. Instead of whining about it and crying about it, he will learn to say, hey, mommy, can I please have another 10 minutes of screen time? And why would he do it? Because he'll listen to you. And I think I mentioned it in the past, and I'm going to repeat that. Kids are learning more from what you do and how you behave than when you preach them and quote unquote teach them how to behave or how to express themselves. So not only you model for them, the other part is when you start practicing negotiation skills. And why is that? Because let's say my kid told me, yes, I want another sweet for the day. My options is to say, yes, of course you can have it. I can say, no, no way. Or we can go into negotiation. Regardless of what you say, you teach your children negotiation skills. Because if you say, yes, you could have it, but just make sure this is not the new habit, then you set a boundary. If you say, well, today you already had enough, so how about you pick something else? Then again, you set a boundary and give them other options. Or you could say from the beginning, what type of sweet would you like to add to your diet today? So regardless of your response, you teach them how to assertively make this negotiation without yelling, without screaming, without raising your voice, etc., etc. And that's a really important skill they would need to use in the workplace with their friends. Like in any relationship, they would have to implement that type of skill. And respecting the boundaries of others is a valuable skill in any relation, and this leading to building the trust and strengthening the bond between family members. Because once I ask something and my parents respected that, I feel they see me, they hear me, they know what my needs, and this really strengthens, and that makes our bond even stronger. And in terms of the family, really what it creates is an environment when every single family member knows that his needs and wants are being addressed and being cared of, and you create mutually respected relationship. And the big change in parenting style is rather than have fear-based parent-child relationship, it's now more about mutually respected relationship. So to sum up, we're talking about why it is important to set boundaries. From the child perspective, it's because it's reducing the children's anxiety and confusion. From the parent's perspective, it prevents frustration. And for the family, it is fostering a harmonious family environment, which everyone feels heard and seen. And remember that by clearly expressing your expectation for yourself and for your child, and when you communicate your own needs and wants, you model for your child how to do it assertively, you create an atmosphere of mutual respect and empathy. And most importantly, you provide your child with this life skill of negotiation, and you contribute to him being able and identify healthy relationship, not only in the family, but also outside of the family. So thank you again for joining me for this episode. Take a look at the show note where I added the link to more relevant episodes. And also, I want for you to be able to implement compassionate parenting. And that's why I created a free compassionate parenting guides that giving you the language to express love, logic, and limits. So go ahead and grab it. Everything is on the show notes. Remember to treat yourself and your kids with compassion and curiosity. Bye.